All right.
Now I have showcase. What is this?
Okay, we are back. We are back.
Everything's under control.
Yes. Yes. Geez, sorry guys. Apparently that whole fiasco ended in me losing a subscriber. I went from 180 to 179.
It's probably unrelated.
Maybe.
No guarantees.
Good call though. Catching me on a potential fallacy of correlation. Yes, the revolution happened off screen. You know, there should have been a revolution earlier when I noticed the cop was out there with the tow truck guy taking my car. So I guess we can hang out a little bit and wait for everybody to catch up and get in.
There's this lyric in this one anime, Gurren Lagann, and he says the revolution won't be televised. Like, the revolution could be happening right now, and the media's just not telling us.
Did you see that was from Gurren Lagann? Because
yeah, that is.
I think that came from some like an older movie. Wasn't it called like the?
Yeah, it's probably a reference.
Yeah, that would be strange if it did originate from Gurren Lagann. I'm not saying that it isn't originally from Gurren Lagann, but because I don't know. But I thought the quote was much older than that. Anyway, Gurren Lagann, good anime. I love that. Giga Drill, activate.
Yeah, one of the best.
The revolution will not be televised. Welcome back, Winkle. I love your name, by the way. It's great. Winkle the Bernie Bro. There's so many creative names out there. Like, for example, Hunter x Hunter 2011 Dick Writing Association. You're going to have to explain that the origin of your name.
I don't think it was original on his part, but it started a movement. Like, I'm pretty sure he copied someone else and then just changed it to the Hunter x Hunter. But then his taking of the name started the whole trend to begin with.
Oh.
I mean, he comments on every YouTube video ever made.
That's pretty cool. That's impressive. Being able to start a movement via exposure and commenting in every video, every YouTube video comment thread. So speaking of leftist politics and how you use that to frame or as a framing device when it comes to your analyses in your videos, I know that Hunter had sent me a link that I think it was something that maybe Cherry Boy Writer had written, or maybe it was Hunter himself. I forget who, but it was about Borgism. Do you consider yourself a Borgist as well?
That's some Hunter x Hunter stuff. Like,
he's
his
the Borgist.
Philosophy. Yeah. I agree with some of it, I guess, but I haven't even read like most of it. I'm just like, what is this?
Where on the leftist ideological spectrum would you find yourself? Or what do you consider yourself to, I guess, to be ideologically?
I could answer that, but I haven't read enough to like decide like exactly where.
Mm. So do you consider yourself just like a general leftist or a Marxist? I think that was
I guess. Yeah, definitely that first.
Mm-hmm.
I'll consider, Marxist before anything, though I haven't read Marx.
Oh, you haven't?
Just summaries of his work on YouTube.
His work is kind of
do a good enough job, right?
his work is quite prodigious, and it's definitely getting through all the volumes of Capital does take quite a long time to do. I mean, you can get kind of an idea of by reading just the Communist Manifesto, but you don't get like the real depth of the ideology. It's the Communist Manifesto is just kind of like a quick. I've heard it explained somewhere as just like a propaganda, like just quick, easy propaganda for spreading just the in brevity, like some of the communist positions, but in order to get a really good idea of all of Marx's theory, you'd have to read all the volumes of Capital. You'd have to also there's another one that's pretty. Where is it?
Yeah, I really should just sit down and watch Paul Cockshot lectures. That's the way to do it.
There's also the selected works. This compiles a bunch of other smaller essays written by both Marx and Engels, and let's see, and also it goes over a lot of the letters that they had written that really give you a better idea of Marx's philosophy. But yeah, myself, I like I was telling you earlier, and one of the others in the previous streams that we did that were failed attempts at streaming. I was first opened up to Marxist ideals during my senior year of high school, because of a project that I was doing on Marx in my English class. Stay hydrated, guys. And so I considered myself like a Marxist sympathist at that point in time. And then I was further radicalized in college, just because taking philosophy courses does open you up and expose you to different political philosophies. And I find myself at the point where I've gone through like various stages where at first I was like, at one point I was like, my battle was, should I be explicitly communist or not? And then the next stage was, should I be explicitly anarchist or not? And then
one of my friends, he's struggling with like, should I even say I'm a Marxist, or should I just like join this like progressive socialist movement?
Yeah, I mean, for praxis, definitely the greater socialist movement is the most important.
I agree, but the way he was framing it was like, I'm going to hide the fact that I agree with Marxist tendencies the most and just portray myself as a social progressive.
Well, in the case of optics, perhaps, but I think in general, the reason why I think the greater socialist the greater socialist movement is important is because that is going to be the most immediate next step in any transition whatsoever. And so it's just more pragmatic to focus on the steps that you take along the way, and then of course material conditions will change as the transitions are happening, and there might come a point, say if we do become socialist, that the material conditions won't necessitate a certain idea, a certain change. It might not necessitate for example, communism or anarchism, or and we might end up, just for the sake of practicality, we might find ourselves going in like a different and kind of a new synthesized direction, maybe like an ideology that doesn't currently exist. Like for all we know, the right answer hasn't been thought of yet, hasn't been experimented with yet. If that makes any
like
sense.
something new could emerge.
Yeah.
I found it interesting in your AI video. You're like, what if inorganic life is just better?
Yeah.
I mean, inorganic intelligence.
Yeah, that it was something that I was considering. I wouldn't ever advocate for let's say I wouldn't ever advocate for the extinction of the human species. And I don't think I think that even though there are a lot of environmental issues that we're experiencing as a result of our species' actions now, I think that with the change of the material conditions that people exist in, you can people will adapt to new behaviors that will be more beneficial for their survival. So I don't. It was kind of like a thought experiment, that AI video. Like, what if we get to the point where we have to seriously consider drastic measures to sustain intelligent life, or like, for example, what if we get to the point where
that could be the model. If we're just like, okay, we'll just let you do all the work, AI.
Oh,
You're
yeah.
better at this than us.
So I think if it ever gets to that point where there is no other choice and that we are going to destroy all life on this planet, then maybe we should give the reins to something to life forms that are more capable of managing the planet, essentially. But for example, like artificial intelligence, if we do end up making artificial intelligence that does end up exceeding our cognitive capacities, then it might be important, for the sake of the survival of the planet and the ecosystems and the species on the planet, to let them take the wheel, I guess. But
yeah, that's an interesting thought experiment. But like,
of course,
practically, like, this will just serve capitalist class interests.
Yeah. Yeah, pretty much, because of our material conditions. But yeah, but my actual belief, though, is that that point probably won't come. That there's still hope for our species, and that with of course, I think I've talked about a lot of the neuroscience. Anyway, I think I'm getting a little too off topic. I'm speaking too much about myself. We should start talking about. Let's talk about some of the recent projects that you've been working on. Like your last video that you made, or
yeah,
your
one of my favorites.
So could you tell us more about that?
Well, the Promised Neverland video came along. Like, I watched the anime, and it just clicked with me that the game of tag they played, that was where I got like the initial idea that this would be good. Is the way it's framed, it just feels like this is telling you, oh, pay attention, because we have, like, this anime is telling you tricks on how to do your own, like, revolution. Like, use your brain in the same way these characters do.
Yeah.
And the plot of the show, The Promised Neverland, is that they have to escape from this farm where they're actually just food. And it just, like, parallels nicely with the capitalist system.
Because it displays it metaphorically displays class distinctions and the class antagonisms that we experience, right?
Yeah, it does. It's a bit weirder when you like no spoilers. I guess I won't get into that.
Get into what?
Like when they expand what the world is. I don't know. It makes it a bit more complex, I think.
So thematically, the anime changes, or in the manga and or anime changes as the story progresses.
Yeah, it definitely changes. Never mind, I brought that up because I'm too confused what it's even saying at that point.
Oh, so basically, you're not really sure where you're not sure about the direction that it's heading thematically, that as of yet.
Not at all.
Okay. But the video that you the last video you posted was really good though. I liked that analysis. It's I don't think it's often that you find a lot of leftist themes happening in anime. Do you know of any others?
I didn't say this during the video, but I'm pretty sure the author of the mangaka, he could be a leftist, because when you read his bio, it's like he's struggling with, he has like the stable job at like some corporate job or something. And in the interview, he said he was like happy with it, but I kind of doubt that. If his passion was like making art and manga, he said like he felt no like drive or like he wouldn't leave any mark if he just worked at that job. He wouldn't leave any like trace that he did anything, and that's why he wanted to make art. And he made it sound like this is fine, but it was an interview, so I'm assuming he wasn't fine with it. If he wanted to do art, like that's just something you say. Like, yeah, it's a good job, I like it.
Yeah, just like a dismissive sort of response, just to not have to elaborate on his true.
Because the Promised Neverland, he brought 300 pages or so to like the interview to like see if this was a good story, and obviously it was, but this was like his last chance in his mind. So I don't know. It seems like he was struggling there.
Do you know of any other anime that might be thematically leftist?
Gurren Lagann, we've already mentioned that.
Oh yeah. I love Gurren. I forgot what it. I watched something that was talking about a lot of the obvious leftist metaphors and themes. Anyway.
Basically anything made by Trigger.
Yeah.
Like Kill la Kill, I'm pretty sure is leftist now. Little Witch Academia, leftist.
Oh yeah, I've heard about that. What specifically in that anime do you think it represents leftist thought?
Well, like with Trigger, it's not as clean compared to like the Promised Neverland. But in the Little Witch Academia, like the overarching plot is like there's like these people complaining about like the results of this game or something. I don't remember it, but like the people who were causing this conflict were basically the elite. There's this one scene specifically that everyone loves where Akko is just like the proletariat. I mean, the bourgeois, the bourgeoisie is not concerned with the concerns of the working class.
She says that explicitly?
Yeah, she says that explicitly. That was the most explicit it got.
Oh, one
she
Cherry Boy
actually wanted people to unionize.
That's pretty cool. Cherry Boy Writer in the chat says that that One Piece is anarchist, and oh yeah, I think it what's his name? Christopher Saba? Saba?
Yeah, he made a One Piece.
Yeah, video. he made a One Piece video. He talked about the anarchist implications of One Piece. It might not be explicitly anarchist, but there does seem you could definitely read it as being. You can interpret it as being anarchist. Cherry Boy, do you know if the creator has ever explicitly stated that he's anarchist, or he intended the series to be anarchist explicitly?
Kind of doubt there's much information on that.
Hmm?
I kind of doubt there's much information.
Oh yeah, probably.
These mangakas don't talk much about politics, it seems, at all. They're like interviews. That's fair.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of them are more dedicated to their work or their art. They're not really interested in. Well, I mean, actually, if you that I almost walked into the trap of saying that art isn't inherently political, but art is inherently political.
I don't know. I think there's most mangakas is like their only life is writing manga. That's all they have time for. They have to write a chapter each week. That's all they're doing that entire week. Sleeping, writing manga. That's all you got time for.
Yeah, pretty much. I hardly have time to do anything. I don't even have that much put out. I don't have a very prolific backlog on YouTube, but I still find myself spending like all my time either making videos on YouTube, networking, and working at my other job. And so, this life is not one that with a whole lot of leisure.
We need to reduce work hours so we can spend more time on YouTube.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Assassination Classroom is leftist. It does a really good job at explaining like hierarchy and stuff like that.
I'll have to check that out. Assassination
and the danger of privatizing school.
Oh, is that the central premise? The privatization of schools?
Well, the school is like private, so there's like the main characters are all in like this classroom called like the E classroom or something.
Mm-hmm.
It's for losers or something. They all failed the test, and the school was like divided on like only the strong survive. Oh,
so it's kind of a critique of social Darwinism in a sense, right?
Yeah, I bet.
So now I guess we can segue to the next topic, which is the space race video. What are your thoughts about the points that I made in the space race video?
It's weird, but I don't think I ever like considered, oh, they're just trying to get to the moon and Mars so they can leave if Earth gets ruined.
Yeah, I mean, it's probably like if you think about it, a lot of the environmental issues that we're facing are inherent to the functioning of capitalism, and that the reason why it's been prolonged as far as it has is because we would have to make serious systemic changes to fix any of the problems that are happening. We'd have to shut down large corporations that have the incentive to keep functioning because that's their source of wealth. That's their source of power as well. So we'd have to shut down several large corporations. We'd have to and because of the fact that a lot of people don't know, but the oil is used in several products and commodities, and so we'd have to change, completely alter manufacturing. We'd have to change how we manufacture because it produces a lot of carbon emissions, but we'd also have to find a substitute for things like tires. We'd have to find
straws.
Huh?
Straws.
Oh yeah. That actually wouldn't be that hard. Finding a substitute for straws, but finding a substitute for things like tires, we'd have to completely revolutionize our transportation system, we would have to. Oil is important for the operation of machinery. Oil is important. What else do they utilize oil for? I've seen a list somewhere where it shows all the different industries that will be affected by a change in a change in our use of fossil fuels. And the list is really extensive. It's really long. So we'd have to change a lot of aspects of our daily lives and our economy, and not only that, but well, hold on, I'm gonna backtrack for a second. So basically, so capitalists aren't interested in relinquishing their source of wealth and power, and so they are going to find whatever alternative that they can that doesn't include doing away with capitalism. And I wouldn't be surprised if that incentive is part of the reason why the space race is kicking off again. And I wouldn't be surprised. Obviously, because of a lot of the reasons that I laid out in the video, I wouldn't be surprised if travel to Mars is going to be specifically for the wealthy capitalist class. And I don't
that notion is because they would have to be physically fit. They have to actually be trained like astronauts. I don't know if they might have to lose some weight.
Yeah, that's a good point. I think of course, like with the first people that go to Mars, they're going to have to be specialists and astronauts, people who are trained. But I'm sure that when they have everything prepared for shuttling portions of, like, I guess, the general population over, I'm sure they'll figure out some way of developing something that makes it that would make the process. I'm sure that they'd find some way to expedite the process so that they wouldn't have to individually.
Space travel now, like, don't they have? Do you know what the progress is on them commercializing just like a trip into space? Like, it seems like it's just to go into space and that's it. Just for
the space tourism industry. Yeah, you're talking about that, right? Yeah. So far, it's just hey, people, come pay us money and we'll take you out into the outer strata of the atmosphere, and then we'll land. So that whole thing. But I'm sure that's probably they'll probably figure out ways via the space tourism industry, the space tourism industry, to find out how to expedite or to make. I can't figure out my words. Where are my words? Oh. Well, so I'm sure that they'll utilize some techniques that they learn from doing that to make it to where they wouldn't have to train every civilian that they would be transporting over to Mars.
And they could, like, just, make this normal. Just like, yeah, we have a tourism industry in space. No big deal. We're totally not setting off the 1% to Mars.
Yeah, and that you know that the space tourism thing isn't going to be cheap. It's probably going to be really expensive.
Like, I doubt any YouTubers can even afford to live stream that.
I don't know. I think PewDiePie would probably be able to afford that. I think
I don't know.
Isn't PewDiePie like a millionaire or something like that? What did you say?
I'm not sure if he could even afford that. Might be.
I don't know. I think a millionaire would be able to afford something like that.
He should get on that though. Like, he could actually win the race. to subscribers if he got space tourism.
Oh yeah.
That's their goal. They just want the attention.
So, did you what else do you think about some of the points that I made? Did you have any disagreements or any criticisms specifically concerning my explanation?
No, I think it was pretty good. But
oh, sorry, continue.
Also, I forget how much this is mentioned in the video, but it seems like the space race is also taking on a new role since now it's about weaponizing space as well.
Oh yeah, I didn't touch on that at all. Do you have I actually haven't heard much about that aspect of it.
No, well, I don't know anything, but I'm just assuming that it's taking on like a whole new role since the U.S. is just like flippantly saying, yeah, we're free. We don't care if we use weapons in space, and that just any other nation's like, okay, we need to gear up. We can't just let the U.S. have this one.
I forgot what I was going to say. I had something to say.
Oh, because there was another video. I don't know if you saw it, but the Peace Report made a video about this specifically what I'm talking about. I think you should check it out.
The Peace Report?
Yeah, he's a leftist channel. He was a veteran, and he mostly talks about militarization and stuff from a leftist perspective. Yeah, 2 weeks ago, he made a video, the Treaty to Prevent War in Outer Space, and that talks specifically about how like the U.S. is one of the only countries like not willing to sign on to this treaty to prevent war in outer space.
So the U.S. is looking into doing actual Star Wars.
What's that whole thing like about like funding a Death Star? That was a thing at some time. I forget when.
Funding a Death. Wasn't that wasn't serious though, right? It was just
some
sort of meme.
That was a meme. But
I wouldn't be surprised though if they could, they would.
Politicians were talking about it or something. That's what made it huge. I don't remember exactly.
Jack Black streaming in space.
Isn't it kind of messed up though that the like higher ups or they're using Star Wars as like, yeah, this is why we want to weaponize space. They're using this meme of Star Wars to justify their actions.
Really?
Not really. That's like how they're framing it to the public. Like here you go, our cool Space Force.
Space Force. It sounds like a cheesy sci-fi film. Space Force. Back in action. I was going to ask. I remembered what I wanted to ask. I was going to ask Hunter what inspired him to suggest that video in the first place. And I'm sure it'll pop up in the chat anytime soon. Until then, what are your stakes in the space race? What do you find interesting about it? Oh, Hunter said you just like space.
Yeah,
yeah, space is pretty cool.
Extraterrestrial life. That should be our main concern. I mean, I'm pretty sure they have everything figured out and they could just fix our society. Like some people might be worried. Some people might be worried they would have just enslaved us, but like if they have space travel, they have no reason to do that.
Yeah, I think it definitely is fallacious to assume that they will be a certain way, because we have no idea what environmental or material conditions that they have evolved in, or what they currently are adapted to, and also considering technology, depending on how advanced the technology is, they probably they probably wouldn't have. It's possible that they wouldn't have the incentive to be, I guess, imperialist in that sense.
Well, actually, maybe I'm wrong because like they could have another goal. It wouldn't be to enslave us, but it would literally just be to like steal our son. Our son. They're just like, oh, we'll just take your son. You don't need that.
Yeah. Well, and you're saying that they would take our son because
I'm assuming that they'll just like need that for like energy.
Oh, for energy. Oh, I guess again, that depends on what technology they have available and what their material conditions are. Considering also that maybe the reason why we haven't been visited by extraterrestrial life so far is it could possibly because of a general indifference. They probably don't. It's possible that they have everything that they need and they don't need to be colonizing space.
Yeah, they could just be self-sufficient.
Yeah. I will be right back. I'm sorry I shouldn't do this because I'm the host of this, but if you could keep chat interested or keep them engaged while I go to the bathroom, I'll be right back.
Star Wars was always like this. We better get some Star Wars analysis pretty soon on the Shonen Ronin channel. That would be pretty cool. Yeah, I don't get why everyone's interested in space. What practical benefits will this give us? Like, I know NASA's like bragging like we will have practical benefits for everyone. I'm not saying that. Where's the benefits we're getting from space travel? At least not the way the current system is designed. We won't see the trickle-down effect of practical benefits. I guess practical benefits for the 1%. Sure. Thank
you. Okay, I'm back. Whoa, almost knocked over my lighting.
Talking about how NASA like brags about how space progress will just lead to practical benefits for everyone. And sure, that is true. But technology at this rate is just advancing in countless class.
Yeah.
For the most part.
Yeah, I'm not against exploring space at all. Just within the context of our current system, because it's definitely within the context of our current system. It's definitely not going to be for the good of everyone. It's going to be good for the wealthy class, the capitalist class.
What Shay?
You all right?
What Shay said was too funny. You said chill for 30 minutes. I need to catch my breath.
Hey, something to elucidate what my position is. I explained in the video my the Camus interpretation, basically exploring space because there's a necessity for I think in a meaningless universe we have to create meaning for ourselves, and there's so much to learn and to explore about the nature of reality. So just doing it for the sake of fulfilling some sort of meaning, or doing it for the sake of knowledge, or doing it for the sake
of recently from that that image of the black hole, you've already seen like what you're talking about, like exploring the meaning of meaninglessness. We've already gotten cute anime girls as the black hole. We wouldn't have that if we didn't have that image.
Yeah.
We wouldn't have cute anime girls of the black hole if it wasn't for this image.
You know, cute anime girls are the meaning of life. I said it here, folks.
The more
cute
we
anime girls,
the more cute anime girls we can have.
Is that the reason why your avatar is a cute anime girl? Because
yes, Space Patrol Luluko. she is a space adventure. You can see this is my interest in space now.
Oh yeah, so it seems pretty. It seems like it's something that all of you share, unless Cherry Boy hates space for whatever reason. But yeah, so what was I going to say? Oh, cute anime girls. Is it just that specific one that you have as your avatar that you like, or is it pretty much like all cute? Do you have like a thing for cute anime girls?
It's just this one.
Just that one.
Just Luluko. She's from the short Space Patrol Luluko. It's made by Trigger, and it references like Gurren Lagann and Kill la Kill and stuff like that. It's really good. It's like there's like 6-minute episodes.
I just have to I want to mention real quick. Hunter said in the chat that Cherry hates everything. Fighting things.
Hunter wants to know, who is your waifu?
Who's my waifu?
Very important question.
I have no idea. Honestly, I probably have. If I had time to just think or sit and think about it for a while, I could probably find one. But off the top of my head, I don't know yet.
All right, you can just rest default generic Marks Chan, and then you'll be set.
So what time is it? 6:41. How long have we been going?
Probably only like 20 minutes.
Oh yeah, because of the
an hour of technical difficulties.
Oh yeah, that's a nightmare. I was going to fuck. I keep forgetting what I should have made a list before I started the stream, but I thought that I'd be that I had a clear idea of all my talking points, but here I am forgetting about them. Let's see. Okay. Here's something, or not.
Maybe I'll ramble.
Have you are you at all familiar with Camus' work? Of any of Camus' philosophy?
No, I'm not. I don't know who that is.
Oh, you should definitely look into Albert Camus. He is a pretty influential existential philosopher, but he also was a libertarian socialist, along with Sartre, back in the early 20th century, early 20th century. I think like maybe the 30s, 40s. A lot of his philosophy is basically finding like a replacement for nihilism in one sense, and then also I guess nothing is really explicitly political in his work, but it's pretty interesting. He was actually he was the first to with his group with the libertarian socialist group that he had with Sartre. He was the first to denounce USSR because of some of the things that were happening over in the USSR, and Sartre unfortunately was still still bent on finding justifications for the USSR, even though it wasn't necessarily socialist to begin with. That it was just state capitalism. Hunter is the philosophy guy.
Yeah, he's the thinker.
hence what you opened with. So Hunter, what do you think about what do you think about Camus? What's your do you like Camus? Who's your favorite philosopher? Oh man, it's hot in here right now.
I'll give us an answer. I'll talk about the thematic depths of Space Patrol Lulico. So one of the overarching story of Space Patrol Lulico is the main character has like this crush on this one guy, and then there's like this twist where it's like, oh, your love is just meaningless. There's nothing to it. It's just like a grade schooler crush. And the whole story, it's just like this little short anime. So this is an entire plot of the thing. It's just like, oh, this feeling that you had that was worthless, well, it actually does have meaning, and that's the end of the story.
Oh, and it's a short story.
Well, there's 12 episodes, and they're all like 5 to 6 minutes, so it's not like a full length anime.
Oh, what's it called again? I'm gonna have to write this down somewhere and check this out as well.
Space Patrol Lulico.
Space Patrol Lulico. I'm gonna see if I don't really have any close utensils. Oh, here. I said utensils as if that made any sense. Nobody caught it.
If you've seen Burn the Con, but it might be better if you've seen like Kill la Kill too.
Space Control?
Space Patrol. Yeah.
Oh, Patrol. Okay, Space Patrol. Lulico. I probably spelled Lulico wrong, but oh well. In response to Hunter in the chat, when it comes to the early Greek philosophers, I'm more of a Diogenes than I would be an Epicurus. I can't talk. Epicurus.
You prefer the parties. You prefer the parties than the isolated, friendly garden life. Oh no,
Diogenes was kind of like the proto-anarcho-primitivist. I say proto mostly because in some ways I don't think he would really fit the bill for being an anarchist, but he did have some philosophical ideas that were somewhat anarchist. I never desired to please the rabble. What pleased them, I did not learn. What I knew was far removed from their understanding. Nice. So yeah, what he and I've read somewhere that stated the issues with saying that Diogenes is an anarchist because in a way he was more indifferent to the society at large. He was more indifferent to wealth and social order in a sense than he was than wanting to actively change it. I suppose he did participate in what anarchists would consider good praxis. So he did try to I'm being distracted by Hunter in the chat.
It's just quoting Epicurus.
Yeah.
Spamming Epicurus.
So he did participate in what would be considered good praxis when it comes to anarchist activism. So he did he did try to convert people to his way of living, which was returning to living independent of society and returning to basically mankind's simple nature, or what Diogenes believed mankind's simple nature to be. Basically, just rejecting all social norms was his thing. So he did go around encouraging people to live independently of the society. He did deface currency, which is good praxis. He did what was something else that he would do? I guess things similar to that. But I guess when it comes to current anarchists, their criticism of, I think, of what Diogenes essentially was, they'd probably call him like a lifestylist, instead of actively engaging in organization in order to change society at large, and to like in order to make it organize it horizontally. They would basically criticize him for just living like or embracing the lifestyle of anarchism without actually doing anything substantial to change society at large. And I
imagine it's harder to organize like that. In his time, though, you just kill a spot, no one would care.
Yeah. There's another criticism that I heard that it might come to mind. Oh, did you hear that? Did you hear my roommate shouting at video games?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's an angry fella. Let's see. Yeah, I'm if you guys want to hear me ramble more about Diogenes, I'll probably do that in the stream where I play Getting Over It with Bennett Foddy and I chat with Amanda. I'm not sure exactly when that's going to be, because Amanda said that she's going to be pretty busy for the next couple of weeks. But hopefully we get that rescheduled sometime, because I really wanted to do that. Hopefully OBS doesn't lag the stream like it was earlier. I'm really gonna have to figure that out, how to fix that issue. And technology can be so frustrating at times. Something that I was going to say earlier before we moved on, because I was starting to ramble on too much about myself, is that where I am politically, essentially, is I do lean more on the anarchist side of things because of a lot of the neuroscience that I've been studying, a lot of the neurobiology, essentially, and how it seems to be pretty evident to me that people do adapt, and they adapt to new material conditions. So if we were to say to change the structure of society, that most likely people will be able to adapt to that organization, and that people have the capacity for new ways of organization. And that I don't think, do I have a Discord? Yeah, I started an account. I haven't done anything with it yet. I think I started an account to chat with Maddie, who was formerly known as Godless Iowan. I don't know if you guys have heard of that channel. I've been doing streams with them quite a lot lately. I've been on their streams, essentially. I had one stream with them on my channel, and then one stream on their channel. So yeah, what was I saying? Oh yeah, so basically, so one, there's evidence emerging from neuroscience and neurobiology suggesting that hierarchy is actually detrimental to the mental and physical health of human beings. Also, there's a lot of emerging research showing that people are generally flexible, even at the genetic level. Genes are they are contingent on epigenetic factors, which is pretty much environmental factors. For example, somebody might be born with a certain genetic sequence that makes them psychopath, or possibly potentially psychopathic, but that gene will actually be switched off. Almost, I think in almost every case that they've studied, people who become psychopathic usually are born with that specific genetic sequence switched off, and it isn't until they experience trauma or abuse that those genes. Sorry, I'm fiddling with my other computer, that those genes are then switched on, and then that person, from that point on, after that gene switches on, they lack all capacity for empathy, essentially, which is actually we have a dedicated area in our brain, we have a well, I won't say a specific dedicated area, because the brain's really complex and networks usually expand almost throughout the entire brain. But there is a specific capacity for empathy in the brain, and it was essentially evolved because of all the years that we spent as social organisms, and it was necessary for us to organize socially. For obvious reasons, I guess.
Kind of funny, people consider, capitalism is the highest social order we can function.
Yeah.
Like, that's crazy. No way.
What else was it? I forgot. I lost my train of thought. I'm really bad with this, guys. Also, I've been sick all day, so please forgive me. So we have. I went over epigenetics. Also, there's a thing that called the the frontal cortex, which essentially evolved for the explicit purposes of the explicit purpose of controlling and moderating behavior. So if there's any question of the flexibility of human beings, you should always, if somebody is appealing to like a naturalistic argument about the inherent nature of a human being, you can always just point out the fact that we have a frontal cortex, and that and neuroplasticity. Just mention neuroplasticity. That should end the argument there. So basically that's the reason why lately I've been leaning more towards the anarchist philosophies and ideologies, essentially. But I still do believe that I don't want to pin myself down specifically. I call myself a libertarian socialist because it's kind of a broad category, and I don't want to declare a specific ideology, because I think it's important to be flexible, especially moving forward, due to the fact that we might need to synthesize new ideas as our material conditions change, and we also don't want to alienate any of our fellow comrades on the left. So that's also important.
So unless it means to like the same end, it might as well just be like united.
Yeah, exactly. You don't want to draw too many theoretical lines. We should definitely be thinking about what we're doing, what we're devoting our action to, and like the pragmatics of the direct action itself, and I'm sure like when we start organizing, that most, like, even if there was some sort of central plan, I think in a lot of cases, the plans will change, especially like depending on like the areas that people are accumulated. So like, for example, if there's some people in like rural areas, I hate that word because there's too many R's and I have like a slight speech impediment, but like areas in rural areas will usually organize based on their material needs, and their material needs won't usually match the material needs of the urban population. And this goes for different areas of the planet as well, because they all have access to the access to resources that they have all vary, and also the types of environments that people exist in vary. So there's going to be socialistic ideals will probably be manifesting in different ways in different areas of the world.
Just watch. The rich are going to go to Mars, and then they're going to form their own socialist society without us.
Cherry Boy says, realistically, you can't, in this timeline, there isn't a time for unification without all rule, to be honest. Or AI rule? Oh. He's I think that's the Borgest argument, right? If I'm remembering your, did you guys create that ideology, by the way? I'm impressed if they did create the ideology, and also I'm curious about what your influences are. And there's a lot of aspects of it that I think are interesting. Hunter did what
no,
were
the influence was the anime Hunter x Hunter.
Oh, okay. So the influence of was the anime, and so you guys are technically the first confirmed Borgists. Am I saying that correctly? Is it Borgist or Borgist?
Yeah, you're saying it correctly.
Okay, so Borgist. Also, I think I can't believe I completely went over my head. Of course, Epicurus is also a significant influence, right?
Oh, yeah, definitely. I didn't come up with any of these ideas, by the way. So.
Oh yeah.
I'm not one here to represent this ideology.
What was I saying? Continue. I interrupted.
Something about what Cherry said. Oh yeah, I was going to mention how what makes this all complicated is we actually have like a timer of global warming.
So, yeah, and so
she was like
it's the natural accelerant of revolution, essentially. So we don't necessarily need people to. We don't need accelerationists, because we have our accelerants existing, and which is our environment, our world. I've been trying to at least dedicate a part of my video, my recent videos, to trying to inspire people to take action and get out on the streets. Of course, YouTube is still an important resource for activism and combating and winning the cultural and informational battle, essentially. But we definitely do also need people doing things out in the streets. And so yeah, find your local leftist organization or your local union, join that, start organizing. Two that I know of that I have come to trust in one way or the other is the DSA and also the IWW. Interesting thing, at first I thought that the DSA was just going to be democratic socialist, but they have wings dedicated to different ideologies. Like, for example, they have a libertarian socialist wing for people who are more anarchistic, I guess, or more anarchist inclined. And and then there's I don't know if you do you guys know of any other organizations in your area? I know that there's an anarchist federation, but I don't think I don't think it exists in too many areas in the U.S. I think it's only mostly in the U.K. There's also do you guys know of any other organizations that that people should check out or join?
I unfortunately don't. Let's see if anyone in the comments does.
Oh, there's 8 people watching now. Hello, all 8 of you. Thank you for joining.
What are the benefits of joining the IWW, for example?
Oh, basically, it's
just like to get heads up on where people are organizing, or be a member?
Basically it's just a large union for anarcho-syndicalists, and basically the idea of anarcho-syndicalism is to create a large union or large associations of various unions, and the idea is revolution through seizing production, essentially. If you the idea theoretically is that if you get a large amount of workers to simply stop working and strike, then the capitalists have no power, because their power comes from production. Yeah. They have no power if they don't have workers to extract the labor value from. So if all workers stop working, the capitalists have no power, and therefore they have no leverage when it comes to negotiating change in organization. So when they no longer have power via that sort of leverage, then the workers can take over the company and take control over the means of production, essentially. And that's the idea from the anarcho-syndicalism viewpoint. So the IWW essentially is just a large union, and that participates in activism and also is trying to get workers together to shut down the means of production to leverage power. And then the DSA does similar. I'm not sure if the DSA also functions as a union. I think it might. I'll find out when I go to my first meeting, which should be later this month, if I can make it down. I'm gonna have to figure out how to get my car back first. But the DSA, I think, utilizes at least a couple of strategies. There's various what do you call them? There's various projects that they work on that around one issue or the other, but they also are organizing via grassroots, bottom up, trying to get people organized. They also they're utilizing the dual power strategy, essentially, I think, where they're trying to also gain influence via getting politicians into socialist politicians into power.
Yeah, I'm sure there's some way I can like organize my local area, but Ohio's a pretty boring place.
Jay asks, does anyone know whether right to work laws impact IWW membership at all? That's a good question.
I was just reading their site earlier on the IWW, and apparently it says that you could just do this. They don't disclose. You don't have to disclose your membership, or I mean, it's not confidential, is what they said.
Okay. That's good. That's good, actually. But yeah, I will try to look. I'll try to look further into the right to work issue. Definitely. Ever heard of Caleb Maupin? No, I haven't heard of Caleb Maupin.
Organizing is a must in America. I don't know. It just feels like nothing's really happening here compared to looking at France, and they have their yellow vest protests literally declaring that capitalism needs to end. Because in Ohio, we have like a gas tax price hike that's occurring too, and no one cares. Literally, no one cares.
You're from Ohio?
Yeah, Ohio.
I've noticed that there seems is there something about Ohio that produces YouTubers? Because I've noticed that it could just be from my limited perspective and observation, but does it not seem like there's a lot of YouTubers coming out of Ohio?
Maybe it's from the fact that like it's so boring in Ohio that you have to vlog your life to be interesting.
Yeah, probably that makes sense. I actually don't know how boring it is in Ohio because I haven't been there, but. If you say so, I guess. It's funny. I think there's a Modest Mouse song about Ohio on one of their earlier albums, making fun of Ohio.
I might be wrong, but it's like they test all like the new restaurant chains in Columbus for some reason, because it's like a good melting pot or something like that, to move it to other cities. So maybe that's also same for YouTube. Like you can test out your new YouTube ideas from being in Ohio.
Oh.
There's obviously no connection there, but it might be similar.
Yeah. Perhaps. So yeah, thinking of all the YouTubers that came from Ohio, I think that the Paul brothers, right? They're from Ohio. Markiplier.
Caleb, who Hunter x Hunter just mentioned, is from Ohio.
Oh, really? Is he a YouTuber? Caleb Maupin?
Yeah, he uploads his stuff on YouTube, but he also is like, he does like reports for RT.
Let's see who else. I think Matt Pat used to be from Ohio, right? But he moved to California.
Everyone who's a YouTuber from Ohio leaves Ohio. Like this is.
Are you planning on leaving Ohio anytime soon?
Any chance I get, yes.
Don't move to California though, unless you can afford it, because I'm struggling to make ends meet and just to stay alive. It's way too expensive to live here.
Living in the city does not sound fun.
I don't live in the city though. I live in I guess kind of like a suburban area right outside of the city. Well, not a nice suburban area, kind of like a very shitty suburban area. But right, I live in a shitty suburban area outside of San Diego, so I don't live in the city. But yeah, living anywhere in California sucks. Move to New York City and start a commune. Yeah, sure.
No, I
know of any good places out in New York City? Do you know of any available land that we could start a commune on? Help us get to life 2, white people.
Life 2.
Call me stupid, but I don't understand the context of that statement. Help us get to life.
The context of this statement is there was that one YouTuber, Shane Dawson. He did the documentary on like Jake Paul or whatever, and Hunter x Hunter made this meme clip where he put over the footage of this documentary of Jake Paul. He put over "Help us get to life 2, white people." Like this abundant wealth of these YouTubers.
Oh wow, they are really rich, and they became really rich at a very young age, and that and for mediocrity of all things, kind of makes you makes you lose faith in humanity sometimes.
Like the fact is, they don't even need that much wealth, and it probably just hurts them more than helps them. They just want to live a normal life too. All of a sudden, bam, millions.
It reminds me like this whole thing. I'm going to get a little bit tangential. It's kind of related, I guess. A lot of people talk about people leftists on YouTube grifting. If you think about it in the context of the majority of content that's being put on YouTube, being a leftist is probably openly a leftist on YouTube is probably not the best way to get to make money, not the best way to get views. I mean, the best way to make money and get views is to either be somebody like a right-wing somebody who makes like right-wing commentary, or just meaningless drivel. That is the way to make money on YouTube.
The more stupid you are, the more like content you can produce.
The more accessible you are.
Oh, this is like, I wonder if you can talk about like brain development and like having too much wealth, because when I think about it, like the way this is set up, you like focus your success on like the material possessions you have, but like that can't be healthy at all.
Oh yeah.
So just like imagine being Jake Paul, for example. He's a driven guy. He has like, he and his brother clearly have like some passion to succeed in life, but the fact that there's no ceiling is definitely not a good thing, because if your goal is to succeed in life, and life is just telling you the only way to succeed is to have more and more material things,
yeah,
a good basis to base like your personal value on.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. You know, you can I tend at least in some cases, I tend to see people who are so consumed by their socialization that they can't see past those kind of terrible values, in a sense. There's I guess what's a better way of putting it than terrible values? I'll just leave it there. They can't really see past their terrible values, and sometimes it's not entirely their fault, because you've been taught to think a certain way since you're a small child, right? And then depending on what kind of social connections you have, what kind of social networks you have access to, will usually determine the type of information you have access to, or the type of information that you take seriously. So because the people in your social network are usually very important to you, and your beliefs and a lot of your thoughts are usually affirmed by the people in your social network. So like and if everybody in your social network has that limited understanding of the world, then they're all reaffirming this limited understanding. And then when you are finally exposed to new information, more accurate information, because of the fact that you've been reaffirmed by all of those people close to you in your social network, you're more likely to reject it. And so in a lot of ways, you can see people in circumstances like that as victims of propaganda, essentially, of socialization.
They'll just get affirmed their beliefs by the same people as them, and they're not going to listen to anyone else without the status they'd have.
Yeah, and well, I'm going to say that only in some cases do I feel sympathy for them and think of them more as victims. In other cases, there are people who are truly terrible human beings, and I think would deserve the disdain that they probably receive. That's a story for another day. I think we have been streaming for quite a long time. We should probably wrap this up. Do you have anything else to say to the audience before you go? Any plugs? Let them know what you're working on next.
Our next video, I don't know if I'll be able to finish this tomorrow, but it's on copyright abolition.
Oh,
I think that's an important topic. Like, copyright is just a negative thing on art. Like, just look at like Mickey Mouse, how they keep extending that. There's no reason why. Mickey Mouse should be in common domain.
That sounds really interesting. I can't wait till it comes out. Do you know when you're going to be releasing it specifically, or do you not have an idea of when you're going to be releasing it?
Next week. This week.
This week? Oh, cool. I'll definitely check that out when it comes out. I'll probably share it on Twitter.
At Shonen Ronin, if you missed it.
Oh yeah, no, I'm subscribed to your channel, so. So yeah, I'll check that out. And then anything else to say before we go?
No, this is fun.
Oh, you were saying that to the chat. My bad. I thought you were saying that to me. Yeah. Chat. Check out Shonen Ronin. I think. No, I didn't put it in this. I put it in the failed description, or the description of the failed attempt at the stream previously. I'll probably edit this afterwards and I'll have it in there if you guys want to check it out afterwards. But yeah, Shonen Ronin. Actually, you know what? I should probably post a link right now. 1 second. Shonen Ronin. Here we go.
Oh no, I didn't tell Hunter x Hunter that the video is not edited. It won't be up tomorrow, probably. Oh well.
Copy. And paste. Bam. There's the link for you guys to check out. Go check it out. It's a great channel about anime through a leftist lens. Also, thank you guys all for coming and watching and chatting with us in the chat. I'm sorry that there was so many issues at the beginning. And I really apologize for putting you guys through making you guys run through all those hoops, moving from stream to failed shining stream. Anyway,
they just got more streams. It was win-win.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, thank you guys, and I will catch you all later.
Have a good night.
And wait, hold on. I probably should have had the okay. Now we're going to stop. Goodbye.